So if you want to see a live demo for YDP or your data playbook, you're in the right spot. All right. So let's jump in and look at the live demo and the Q&A. So here we go. Okay, data is the new oil of the digital economy or of the digital age, right? As more and more businesses transform and rely on computers, rely on data, digital transformation, right? So anything that produces data, think about computer, any digital process produces data. And as a result, there's a copious amount of data and it fuels the digital economy. And Harvard released a study, and what they found was that 89% of businesses say that data is essential to their organization's growth and innovation. But there's a gap, right? There's a problem. The problem is that 69% say that there is limited access to that data, and then it's difficult to use and it's not easy to understand, right? So there's a gap in terms of, hey, we know it's valuable, but we have a hard time actually leveraging and using that data. Part of it also is because 61% say there's a lack of skills and training. That's really the biggest barrier to preventing them from using and leveraging their organization's data to fuel their growth and innovation. I mean, data is essential to compete in the digital world, right? It is the most valuable asset that you will see coming forward. Think about the most valuable companies in the world right now. Everything behind that company is really the great strategic advantage and competitive advantage for that company is data and how they leverage and deploy their asset data to drive value. The problem, like we just said, is that working with data is not easy, right? Think about how much the world has changed since 2008, since 2007, right? That was when the iPhone came out. Do you think about how much the world has changed since that point in time, right? That's a lot of change in 15 years. Instagram, WhatsApp, Airbnb, right? Think about Uber. Those companies didn't exist, right? So all of a sudden you have a huge amount of data and you don't know how to leverage it and use it to your advantage. So there are several hurdles to overcome, right? There's the access hurdle that we mentioned. You can get that data, you can download it, but you don't necessarily know where to store it, how to compile it or structure it so that it's useful for you. And that also, another barrier is time, right? You can get it, but then it takes you so long to actually figure out how to use it that time is just, you don't have time. There's so many things on your plate that you don't prioritize it because it takes so much time. Then the lack of skills and training, like it's if you're not a digital native, if you haven't grown up in the digital world, right? You weren't born like our kids, right? They're digital natives. They see a smartphone, they understand an iPad, they can get it. It's very intuitive for them. For us, it's more challenging. So there's the lack of skills. And then the last thing is because of that, you deprioritize it. It's so frustrating that it just ends up on the end of your to-do list because you know it's valuable and you want to become data-driven, but there's so many of these hurdles in the way preventing you from actually being able to leverage that data to your advantage. The reality is that it's not a problem isolated to TpT Sellers. It's not, right? This is a global problem. In my previous job, one of my main roles was helping transform the company to become data-driven, meaning using data to make decisions to drive decision value, right? That's really what it's all about. And so this is a problem not just for TpT Sellers. This is Fortune 500 companies across the globe, right? So you're not alone. So what if I told you that we could eliminate all of these hurdles for you, right? So that our goal is helping eliminate and smash these hurdles so that you don't have to spend your limited time wrangling your data like you're a cowboy at a rodeo, right? Like that's what the last thing we want to do. We want to eliminate all the cumbersome work for you so that you can actually have time to analyze your data. So how long would it actually take you to do that data wrangling, right? To get your data in a place where you could actually analyze the data and to make useful decisions to drive your innovation and growth. Well, we did a study on a store of 150 products to manually download, compile, structure, and visualize that data in a way that it was interpretable for you. And what we found was the following. It would take 5 hours to download that data, 3 hours to compile it, 5 hours to structure it, and 3 hours to visualize it. So that's a grand total of 16 hours to do that one time, right? So and that's just on a monthly basis, and you haven't even analyzed it yet. Who has 2 extra days a month to do that? I know we don't in our house, right?
No.
That's why we're here. Again, and at a rate of 25 bucks an hour for a standard VA, right? Again, that's not someone that's knowledgeable, that knows about data. So it's underpriced, let's say. You're talking at a minimum $400 just to do that one task. 5,000 bucks a year, essentially. If you want to do this weekly, that's going to take 64 hours, and it's going to bump that cost up to 1,600 a month. A year, you're talking 20 grand. Again, if you want it daily, you're talking over $70,000 just in data preparation and transformation to get in cost, just to get that to a place where you can actually use it. That's pretty crazy. That's a significant hurdle. And a significant investment. So we're unlocking unprecedented value for the TpT community. And so we've created a VA data service, and we're doing this for way less, which opens up opportunity for more teacher sellers like you to become data driven like never before. So that's what we're about. So this is your data playbook, right? This is how we started, and this is what our mission is. And so what we're doing is we're flattening these hurdles by combining 3 things. We're combining automation, so that's actually how we do the data processing and download, compile, structure, and visualize it in visual analytics, right? So that your brain can easily understand and interpret, because your visual perception understands information a whole lot better than a ton of spreadsheets. And then we help you know how to use that data with data coaching and enablement. And so we love to help people unlock the value of their data to make it work for them, right? So that is really what we're about, is flattening those hurdles, and we combine these 3 things in order to be able to do that. So we do the heavy lifting for you to save you time and money, and so that you can spend time working on what you love, right? And you get your data updated when you need it to your inbox. So we also then take your visual analytics tools that we give to you. So these are personalized dashboards designed for you to get answers quickly and for you to take action to drive value for your business. So these are custom tools that are built for your store that reflect your performance. And then the last component is data coaching and enablement. So we have over 8 hours of content in the content library for you to use and learn at your leisure, right? So on demand. And then we also do monthly coaching calls where we have live office hours and talk about different questions and different solutions and scenarios. So that's what the office hours are for. So that's what we do. And so again, at our core, we're a membership service that provides an analytics toolkit to help teachers, sellers run their business with data so that you can compete and thrive in the digital world. And we do that by knocking down these 3 access, time, and skills and training hurdles so that you can actually have the opportunity to become data driven. Okay, so that's what we're about. Now, let's do a quick survey. How would you answer the following question? And you don't actually have to answer it, but just think about it. How is your store performing? How would you answer that? And for that specifically, what growth lever do you think is actually currently driving your store's growth? So what's driving the performance of your store? Is it traffic? Is it conversion? Is it price? What is actually contributing or not contributing to your growth? Okay. How would you answer the following question? How easy is it to get to know this information? Which products have gained the most page views this year? Which products have lost the most page views this year? Anyone know that answer? Right? So you don't have to answer, but just think about it. Okay, this one you could answer. What's a good conversion rate for a $3 product? Well, 7%. So anything below 7% for a $3 product would we consider, as we call it in YDP in the membership, underperforming. So what we've done is we've taken all of the data, so over 140,000 products, and we've compiled it by price point. And then we have actually studied the different conversion rates by price in order to be able to understand and answer that, the perennial question of what's a good conversion rate on TpT. You often hear 5 to 7%, but the real question is, the real answer is rather, it depends on the price. Economic theory supports as price goes up, so does demand. So as price goes up, so does our conversion rate. So look at this example right here. What's a good conversion rate for a $25 product? Think about what I just said, and it holds true in this example. So a good conversion rate for a $25 product, anyone know? Anything below 4% actually is considered an underperforming product in terms of its conversion. Okay, so think about what I just said. As price goes up, conversion goes down. So an average conversion rate, 5 to 7, is not really true. When we talk about conversion rate, it really depends on price. And here you see it. 3 percentage points drop just because the price of a $25 product a good conversion rate is anything above 4%. Now you know, if you have a $25 product, anything above 4 is good. So again, you can find the questions to these answers in our visual analytics toolkits that we specifically designed for you in your store, right? So we're going to jump into the demo now. And that was just a primer to get you thinking about some of the issues that we've thought about when we purpose-built these tools for you. Okay, so the first tool that we have is called Your Performance Hub, right? So this tool is all about managing your performance. It allows you to monitor your business and quickly identify changes in demand, and for you to be able to track the performance of a product after you've implemented changes, or you're performing maybe email marketing or Facebook ads. But it simply gives you a complete visibility into how your store and products are performing, because it looks at all your core metrics in one screen. So you can answer questions like we just posed, like which products have increased or decreased the most in page views this year? Which products have gained the most in earnings this year? And what drove their growth? Was it page views? Was it conversion? Or was it the price? Which resources have the most page views and have the lowest conversion rate? Right? Those are good candidates for optimizing your listing so they convert better, because you're leaving money on the table. Which resources have low views and a high conversion rate? That's a candidate for traffic promotion. Another question you could ask is, how much should I pay to promote one of my products, right? Cost per click, as we say. So this also is answered here. Now you should know, because each product actually performs and produces differently. So you need to know so you're not overspending when you're using social media to promote your products. And we already said, what is a good conversion rate? So and is that change helping or hurting my sales, right? Think about pricing changes, right? You can easily have visibility into that. So let's dive in and show you this tool, a couple of quick examples. It's a pretty comprehensive tool, so we're not going to show all of the examples right now, just to give you a quick overview of what we're talking about. So this is the Performance Hub. And what you see here in the upper left, first, you have earnings, units sold, average price. EPV is earnings per view. So this is how much your product makes every time it receives a view. Page views and conversion rate, right? So the blue line here, just to call out, the blue line is the current period, and the gray line is the previous period. And you can see that here in the legend, right? So this dashboard or this tool is built always to look at one period versus the other. So this is last year versus this year, right? And this particular example, we're actually using data from 2021. And so 2021 is the blue line and 2020 is the gray line. And we're doing that just to showcase, so you have a complete year to visualize here, so you get the big picture of how this data looks overall. Okay, so these are all your core metrics that you care about. And again, how your business grows is really the 3 growth levers that we teach about in YDP is page views, conversion rate, and price. You grow your store by these 3 levers in that order: page views, conversion rate, and price. Okay. And so this tool really gives you quick access to that right away to understand how your store is performing at your store level overall, and then at the product level. So here you see product level information. And for someone who hasn't seen data before or is using data, this might be overwhelming, and that's not uncommon. So let's stop and ask and answer that actual question: which products have gained the most page views, right, this year? So I can come down here and I can look specifically for products. Right. So this product, I can click on this particular product, and what's going to happen is going to filter this entire screen to reflect these metrics for this one particular product. So I'm going from the store level of information down to the product level of information with one click. But before I do that, I want to sort by the products that gained the most page views. So I can come here and it says views changed. What you're looking at here is we're comparing the current period CP views, so current period page views, to last period page views. So I can easily come in here and click the views change, and it's going to tell me the comparison between those two periods of time. And so what I see really quickly here with one click is I see that this particular product has grown 22,000 views for this particular year. Now, this is an interesting example too, because why? It actually helps us understand that conversion performance example, as well as what's a good conversion rate. If I come and look at this particular product, I can see here there's this thing called conversion performance. It says it's below average. So what is that? Well, let's dive in and see. So I click this particular product, I click on the title, and it does what is called an action filter. So it filters all of the related metrics and trends, so I can see all that information for this particular product. And what we see here is that we have this product grew 127% last year. Not bad, pretty awesome. And what drove its growth? Well, it grew 114% in units sold, but the main driver here, if we look, was page views. So page views increased 97%, while its conversion rate increased 8.5%. And we did some pricing experimentation, and that also increased here 6%. But the main driver here was price. So it grew a lot, right? So like we said before, it grew 22,000 page views, which makes sense here when we look at it in the trend. Now, there's opportunity here, though. There's money being left on the table. And when I say that, specifically, what am I talking about? Let's go back to the concept of conversion performance. So conversion performance, what we've done in the cohort is we've actually taken data and put it into groups or buckets by price point. So every $2, and then we've analyzed what's a good conversion rate for price points up to $100. And then we've grouped every product over $100 into one price bucket. So what we see here is I come over here and I can look current period average price. So this product is currently $25. And then I can come here and look the cohort conversion for a $25 product. Look, we just talked about this, right? So that conversion rate is 4%. So look at this product. My current period, so for all of 2021, this product converted at what? 3.8%. This is where you get the below average conversion rate. It's selling and converting less than it should be according to all the other products that are in the cohort, and we see their conversion. So this to me tells me that we need to do something. We need to optimize our listings so that it converts better, because we're leaving money on the table and we're getting a ton of traffic, which is a lot of opportunity where we can convert more page views into paying customers. So if we were, I did the math, and if we were just to change this and get this up to 4%, you know how much that represents for the entire year? So just increasing this conversion by 0.2, that would mean that we would sell 93 more units just by raising it 0.2, or over $2,300 for the whole year. Just that little change, right? If you changed your conversion that much, it would result in a $2,300 increment in more revenue or more earnings just because of that little shift, right? So again, little differences make a big impact, right? And here you can get that much detail and this example. And this is just one product and one data point that we're looking at here, right? So again, there's literally hundreds of scenarios that we could look at. But this tool is really built to answer performance related questions. So this is like probably the most complicated tool, honestly, because it covers the most, but it gives you so much visibility packed into one screen. So this answers those questions that we talked about at the outset.
And just to say, if this does look overwhelming, like I'm not a big numbers person, so this at first, felt a little overwhelming, but as you get into it and you start to see, where to start, like one of the biggest things for me was just looking at what's lost page views and to see what's happening and then to optimize that. So there's just different ways that we try to share with you, like where to get started so that you don't feel this overwhelming of like, where do I begin? Because this is a really powerful tool to help you see, like there are so many products that I didn't realize were really going down and I would have had no idea. except we were able to see clearly, where it's starting to go in the red, okay, let's do something.
Yep.
Like products that were still tagged as distance learning or hybrid, and that wasn't being searched anymore, and so we were quickly able to identify, hey, let's change this now, and then, get it back on track.
I do have a question. So for me, who has no idea what any of these things on the bottom of this graph mean, like CP, EPV, or whatever, is there a key that tells you exactly what that means?
Yep, we have a glossary of terms in your getting started folder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good question. Good question, Laura. We have user guides, we have videos, we have glossary of terms that that go as a support for this as well. And then we have, the monthly calls as well. So then we come back to the presentation here and look for the next tool is called the 80-20 tool. So this tool is all about, as a general rule of thumb, 80% of your earnings come from 20% of your products, right? So this means that your best sellers are your growth engine. And so you need to focus on them and optimize them so they produce the most for you. You want to squeeze the juice out of them. You want them to perform well for you. So this tool really allows you to quickly identify and focus on your best sellers so you can make the most impact of your limited time. It helps you to answer questions like, which resources make me the most money? And how I have so many products, which ones should I optimize, right? So that could be overwhelming when you have a ton of products and you got to focus. This helps you quickly identify and focus on what matters. And then think about from promotion planning, right? You want for any season for back to school, you want your products that are your best sellers to be producing the most for you, and you want to be able to prepare for that. So this helps you identify that for planning for future promotion periods or back to school periods where there's peak demand. So this is the tool. So here, this is the 80-20 tool. And so what you see here is the blue that makes up the 80% of your earnings, right? So in this case, Beth has a little over 240 products in her store. And if I come to the very last blue column here or bar, what you'll see here, it says running total percent of earnings is 79. So, and if you count all of these products, essentially, I think this is 12 products, right? So 12 products make up 79% of Beth's earnings. So that's a lot less overwhelming when you think about optimization and where you like what products you need to promote, what products you need to send an email to. Like, again, it cuts out the noise and allows you to focus on what's important, right? And so you can interact with it. You can select particular products. And then here, let's say I want to look at back to school year last year. So July, September, and October, and 2021 and 2020. And yeah, let's say I also want to look at 2019 before COVID, just to see what was going on. So I can click and see all three of those periods together in aggregate to be able to understand the demand and what was actually selling for those 3 months. So I can focus on back to school and making sure that I'm, writing my emails. I am getting my social media posts ready. I am getting my blog posts. Whatever channel that you're using to communicate with your buyers, your potential buyers, and then also just from the listing itself, making sure that the SEO is optimized, making sure that your previews are persuasive and that your covers are eye-catching, so you stop the scroll and search, right? So this gives you that visibility really quickly to where to focus. Again, everything else, yes, that's 80%. And so if I were to zoom out in this tool, look at that's essentially look at how many zeros there are. And this really allows you to cut and focus this is what's important here. Like, look at this versus everything else in the grand scheme of things. And some people might say like, oh, well, I have 1,000 products. And that means like my 20% is going to be, and my 20% is going to be 200 products. So what am I supposed to do? Well, focus on your first 5, right? Don't get overwhelmed. Focus on the first top 5 and then focus on the next 5. So you batch those, how you approach your best sellers. You don't have to tackle it all at once. Any questions with this particular tool? Again, this is one of our simpler tools, but it's very powerful from a visual standpoint to understand where to focus and how to identify what is producing the most for you so that you can make the most of your time.
If you're on the fence, if data is really that important in your business, this is what really kind of made me open my eyes and say, oh my. Because Jared and I had conversations for a long time of him saying, hey, what are you doing with these products you already have selling that are making money? And why aren't you doing like cutting a preview, fixing the cover? And I always had, such little time, and my time was spent making new products because that's what I love to do. And there's a time for that. It's not, we're not saying there's not. But then when he showed me this and I saw all of those new products that I had spent all my time working on that year were making 0% of my whole, and only 12 were making 80%. I was just like, okay, I'm on board. I get it. I get that I need to shift my focus a little bit and really begin to start optimizing these ones that are already making money. So now it's a balance of optimizing, and then there's still time and room for creation. But this was just definitely eye-opening because it's so clear to see, like, wow, this is where the money's being made in those 12 products. So let's make them the best they can be.
Yeah, and in the membership we have, we call it the focus factor challenge. So we tell people just to focus 20% of your time on the 20% of your resources that make the 80%. Really, that's what it's like. We're not saying if you love creating, we're not saying don't create, but we're just saying you need to shift your focus and focus on those that are making a significant amount of earnings for you. Mm-hmm. Let me go back to the presentation and introduce it. So this tool is product conversion matrix. This product is all about optimizing your product listings so that for each layer in the conversion funnel, right? So this tool was purpose built to give us visibility into the 3 different layers of our conversion funnel. And the 3 layers are, the first, which is the top layer, is called awareness, right? So are people finding your product? Are they clicking? Are they stopping to scroll and clicking to view your product? The second one is consideration. Are they actually looking at your product? Are they considering purchasing it by viewing your previews? And the third one is, are they actually purchasing it? It's the purchase layer, right? So we look at those 3 layers and see what part of the conversion funnel isn't working, a leaky bucket, and how can we make improvements to those things. So it basically answers the question of, where am I leaving money on the table and what can I do about it, right? Those are the questions that you have. And so then it allows you to focus on which part of the funnel do I need to focus on in order to help close that gap on where I'm leaving money on the table. And then, right, actually, are you the changing of those covers, thumbnails, and previews, are they working to increase my sales, right? So it actually allows you to have visibility to see if things are trending in the right direction. So this is the product conversion matrix. And so we're breaking this down into categories based off of the different sections or the different layers in the conversion funnel. Top performers are green. You want them here. Those mean that you don't need to do anything to the listing based off of your store's performance, right? So this is all relative to your store's performance. So if we look here in the upper left quadrant, it says optimize previews, right? So this is based off of your store's performance, and we call it, we've introduced a KPI. This is how we break this up. It's called the preview to purchase rate, right? So basically, what's the ratio of people that are seeing your previews and purchasing? And if it's underperforming, here is where we classify and say, hey, this preview is not performing like it should. And it gives us a signal that it's not converting like it should. So you need to go in and look at it to evaluate to see how you can make it more compelling. TpT states that 62% of buyers say that a preview is the most influential part of the product listing, and that influences their purchase decision the most after price. So previews have a big weight in whether a decision to buy or not is made. So here you can actually highlight, and you can see specifically, you can go in and look at this particular product and understand what part of the conversion funnel you need to optimize. So here you can highlight, and I can click, and it'll show me this particular product as well. So I can click here, for example, and it's going to take, and I can see this particular product, and I can go and see the related trends. If you see here, the VTP, PTP, and conversion rate, these are the 3 layers. So this is the awareness layer, the consideration layer, and the purchase layer. That's all right here in the trends for this particular product. So we can go to the product level detail as well here. And so we're getting an optimized preview recommendation. And what we see here is the average PTP, right, for best store is 16%. This product is performing at 11. So it's underperforming there. So that's how we identify it, Debbie, is we compare it to the rest of the store's performance and see actually what that particular layer for best store should perform at, and things that are below that get this recommendation to optimize the preview. And then the next layer here, or the next quadrant, is this is where both layers both the top layers of your conversion funnel need to be optimized. This is optimized previews, covers, and thumbnails, right? So this is, you have to perform both of those recommendations because this product is underperforming in both these areas. Then here you move up and it says, okay, these blue dots are bubbles. That's really telling you to optimize just the covers and thumbnails. So the top layer, right? So this really translates the 3 layers and puts it into a nice quadrant for you. Right, so it's very visual. Here, again, we want to drive everything here to this upper right-hand corner. And then you can visualize the trends here and just see how, like, if you were to make a change, let's say you made a change here in your cover and thumbnail, you would see this signal right here. Like you want to see a shift, right? You want to see movement in that particular layer of your conversion funnel to know if your change made the impact that you want, right? So you want to optimize the different layers for each individual product in order so that you convert and the product makes more money. But so this product or this tool was purpose built for you to have visibility into each layer of your conversion funnel by each product and know which particular recommendations by product that you need to make and to execute in order to be able to produce more money for these product listings. So that's the concept here behind this particular tool. Okay. So then the next tool is this. This is called your seasonal strategy plan. This is really a combination because some people, when they get into the membership, honestly, they're a little bit overwhelmed. They've never used data, but they know and believe in the value that it can unlock for them. So this really is the consolidation of your performance hub, your 80/20, and your product conversion matrix, that tool that we just saw. So this is your to-do list, right? So literally, I know teachers love to-do lists. A lot of people they just want to execute. They just tell me what to do and I'll do it, right? They don't have time to go in and analyze, even though some love it, some don't. This solves that problem and gives you a personalized approach to your to-do list to know which products to optimize, which products to increase prices on, which products to promote. So it really gives you a recommendation for each of your growth levers, traffic, conversion, and price, and allows you to focus. And we give it to you and we send it quarterly so you have it by season. So when you sign up, and if you sign up, you'll get this when we deliver your data to you on the 26th of this month. So you'll get your back to school strategy plan, right? So your back to school strategy plan will contain 25 products. Basically your homework of what you can do to optimize your particular product listings to, again, make more money, have them produce more for you, squeeze the juice out of them. So it really answers the questions during a particular season: what sells in my store and what do I need to do to optimize those earnings, and what specific products do I need to optimize for traffic, price, and conversion rate. So that's it. Really, we do a lot of that heavy lifting and thinking for you, so you don't have to, so you can just execute. So this is the strategy plan. So what you get is this: you get a summary view, and it tells you the 25 products. It tells you how much they made for that particular season. It tells you the total earnings. So remember the 80/20, like it tells you literally this product produced 20% of your earnings for that particular period. It gives you the conversion rate. It tells you how that conversion rate is performing against the cohort. So this product is performing above average. And then it gives you your recommendations for each of those growth levers: conversion, traffic, and price. And then, for example, this one's a top 25. It tells me, hey, you just need to get more eyeballs on this traffic and also consider raising the price because you might be underpricing this particular product. So it gives you specific recommendations to try for optimization purposes for products in this season. We're looking at summer specifically. Again, we're going to send out the back to school one here in a week so that you can start planning and preparing for the back to school season. So then that's the summary version. So it really just gives you a quick overview and the to-do list. And then the detailed version, really, you can see by month. You can break it down by month here, by specific month, or look at it for the entire season. Then it includes more data specifically for marketing purposes, right? So here, your earnings per view, the earnings per view is how much you should spend in order to be able to promote a product on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. So you should not just spend any amount of money to promote a product if it only produces an X amount of per page view that it receives. So what we're talking about, let's say this particular product, an EPV of 34, what does that mean? It means that on average, this product produces for you 34 cents every time it's viewed. So for you to pay 35 cents on Facebook to promote this product, you're losing money. You need to make sure that you're paying less than 34 cents to promote this product on Facebook if you want to make money. So it helps you gauge how much you should spend to promote this product. And then this also gives you more performance data as it relates to your conversion funnel. So the conversion funnel, as we said, comes from the product conversion matrix. Again, remember the 3 layers. Here's layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 here, right? So this is awareness, consideration, and purchase. So you see, you can get that view right there to understand which part of the conversion funnel you need to focus on for this particular listing. And then you get, again, how this product performs against the cohort for this particular price. And then you get your 3 recommendations for every one of your growth drivers that we teach about in the membership: traffic, conversion, and price, right? So this is the more detailed, expanded version, so that for those that want to market and specifically optimize and hone in on different layers of their conversion funnel. Then the last tab here is all about a frequent question in our house with Beth and her email list is, okay, which product should I promote this week? What we've done is we've actually by week, we've created and selected the top 3 products by week, so that you can actually focus and know, okay, this product did well week 1 of June last year. So I can know what I need to email out for that particular week and don't have to dig into the data. It's already done for you. And again, why 3 products? Because we know people have bestsellers that are the best sellers every single week of the month. So we're giving you different options here to be able to select a different product. So again, you can use this for blogging, you can use this for different use cases, but one of the quickest ways we found value with it is through email marketing and creating an email sequence. I know people that have used this and they created their entire email sequence already for summer and they're done. They literally have it in automation and they know all their emails and they're set up with the products and they're going off to the races, and now they're focusing on something else. So they're literally batch scheduling their email sequences for each season. Okay, so this tool is, each business has a growth story. So this is yours. And so you're able to quickly identify how your business has performed and how it's grown over the past in order to plan for the future. This really helps you answer the questions like, hey, how's my business grown, and what growth levers have really driven my growth, and how does my performance compare from one year to the next? So this is your growth story. And so what we're looking at is the last 5 years of data for Beth, and you can see her performance. So what we're looking at is from January 1st to through May 17th for this year, and her performance, right? So we can see her growth. So her earnings have increased 67% on average since 2018. And then we can see her units sold have increased 78%. And again, going back to our three growth levers here: page views, conversion rate, and price. We see the main driver of her growth has been page views. It's up 45% in those 5 years. Her conversion rate is up 23%, right? And again, a lot of this is as a result of product listing optimization. And then also we've strategically tried to have her create cheaper products, because she's created a lot of year-long curriculums that do well, but we know that people have different willingness to spend. So we're creating cheaper products to get into different markets where there's market need. So we're okay with this decrease in price because that also helps with conversion and helps expand her unique customer base, as you see here. So this gives us really quick insight into how her store is performing, to do a quick health check to understand how she's growing and how she's performing. And then you can come in and specifically look at different products at the product level as well. And you can look, and yeah, there's a lot of functionality here. But yeah, this is that tool. And again, it's just a really simple, clean way to look at your performance, understand what's going on, and understand past performance to understand how to plan for future growth. The next tool is called your growth planner. So now this is a great segue because we just looked at your growth story. So we want to stop growing accidentally and start doing it intentionally. I don't know if you're anyone like Beth or similar to Beth, but TpT's made a great business, right? They made it so you can post products and you get income, right? So it makes it the business passive, right? You don't have to actively manage it. The problem with that though is actually you don't actively manage your growth and plan for growth. It just kind of happens. And so this plan really helps you set a target and create a plan to get there and measure your actual performance against that plan. So you can actually know what lever you have to influence in order to be able to hit your growth intentionally, and so that it doesn't just happen accidentally. And then it allows you to change course and take action against that actual plan that you've created. So let's go in and look at that. So here's the growth planner, and essentially the first part is inputting your historic data, and we do that for you. All right. So when you get it, it'll already be populated for you. The cool thing here is that you can come in and then you can set literally any target that you want. For example, if you it allows you to dream and actually understand the reality of how to actually approach and get to that particular growth target. So here in step 2, you set a growth target. So let's say Beth wanted to hit 185,000 as I had it populated earlier. What it's going to do is it's going to output for me. So I'm going to input one thing and I'm going to get the output of what I need to grow by here in step number 2. The cool thing then is it doesn't stop there. It actually then gives me the recipe for how, and gives me an automatic recommendation based off of my historic data of the path for me to get there. So what this does is it tells me that in order for me to hit that $185,000 or growth of 37%, my page views need to grow by 38%. My conversion rate needs to increase by 3%, and my average price is going to come down, meaning I'm going to continue to sell cheaper products. So what you see, the output then is here is called your growth plan. So your growth plan actually tells you, get the recipe of what that recommendation is composed of. So in order to hit that $185,000, she's going to sell 15,000 units, and she's going to have about 285,000 views with a conversion rate of 5.3% and an average price per product of $15. So what does that mean for her actual growth? What does she need to do for this year? And imagine I'm talking about this scenario as if we're in January of 2021 or January of 2022 planning for the year, right? Again, I know it's the middle of May, but imagine if we were at the beginning, the outset of the year. So for her new growth for this year, like essentially she's going to grow $50,000. In order to do that, she needs to sell 4,500 units more and produce 78,000 new page views. So she needs to grow almost 80,000 page views, and her conversion rate is only going to come up 0.1, right? So it's only going to grow 3%, and her average price is going to come down 54 cents. Okay, so that doesn't seem that bad, right? That doesn't seem that undoable, right? It seems pretty achievable when we break it down like that. But let's say, for example, you don't think, you're like, wow, growing 80,000 page views, that might be a little bit challenging. You think that you can optimize the other growth levers like conversion, right? So you could come in here and you could say, I think, I'm pretty good at product listing optimization. I'm going to optimize my previews because I know they have a big impact on conversion rate. So I can come here and I can manually adjust those growth levers. And what you see here, what you just saw was I'm going to increase my conversion by 10%. And all of a sudden, that 78,000 page views that you needed to grow all of a sudden turns into 61,000, right? Because I'm going to grow my conversion rate by 0.5. That's pretty crazy. Now think about how you just shaved off almost 20,000 page views because you increased your conversion rate by 0.5. That's crazy, right? So again, that's the type of dynamic that I want you to see with this tool, is that it allows you to identify these changes and influence the growth levers so that you can create a plan that's best suited for you and what you know about your business. So if Debbie, she's going to spend more time optimizing her product listings, she might not need to grow by that 80,000, 60,000 page views might be more beneficial for her. and then or might be more realistic for her. And then you can do the same thing for price, right? So we can come in here and say, okay, I think, you know what, I'm going to try to raise prices because I have a lot of best sellers that convert really well. And I think there might be underpriced. So I just want to increase my price by 5%. And again, watch the same effect. So by increasing our price 5%, it shaves off another 20,000 page views. So think about like, and you know how much that price increase was? 79 cents. So if I can get people to spend 79 cents more on average, it drops my need to grow by page views another 20,000. So I literally halved. I went from 80,000 page views to 38,000 page views I needed to grow because I'm going to focus on a different growth. I'm going to focus on conversion and I'm going to focus on price. So just adjusting those two things, it has a significant impact. Again, this is where little changes make a huge impact on your overall growth and your overall growth plan. So then once you have your growth plan defined, what you can do here is then you can actually, what we do in step 5 is we distribute that growth plan across the 12 months based on your historic behavior. And so when you see this, what we do is we distribute that growth plan and tell you, okay, this is how much you need to make in January, this is how much you need to make in February, in March, and so on. And then we input your actual performance. Then we tell you how well you did versus the plan for that particular period. And you can see that in terms of your units sold and your average price, your page views, and your conversion. So it's very easy to quickly identify where there's gaps in your plan or where you're overperforming, right? And so this is a really good way to have control of what's going on in your business according to your plan, and then being able to change course if necessary by influencing one of those particular growth levers: page views, conversion rate, or price. And here, step 6, you just get a really quick example about how you're doing year to date on your overall growth plan summary, right? So here I look at, so versus last year, I would have made $35,000 thus far. Here, the plan year to date was to be at 48,000, and we're actually at 57,000. So she's ahead of her plan by $10,000 almost. And so your actual growth for 2021 is $22,000, and our planned growth was 13. So like, again, she's, like I said, she's ahead almost $10,000. We wanted to grow by 37%, and we're actually growing 67 or 65%. And so she's ahead by 20%. So she's growing 20% more than what she originally intended, which is great. So the total completion of her plan thus far is just over 31%. So she's 31% to her overall goal of that 185. So this is how you would use this growth planner to be able to have growth that you understand what's going on in your store, and then again, grow intentionally and not accidentally, and have a pulse on your business so that you know how to grow and how to influence those growth levers to be able to get to your year-end goal. Would you add anything to that?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, don't be fooled. We just started implementing this. Before, I was literally just happy that I was making money every month and had no idea what was going on besides if I just made money. And if it was more than the last year, that was great. So this has really been kind of a game changer in the business for me to feel a lot more involved with the goals. I know if for many years, I tried to set goals at the beginning of the year, listening to Amy Porterfield or all these other people, and just be like, okay, sure, let's hit this target. And really there was nothing that was supporting that or any reason why that was the goal I was trying to go for. So obviously it never happened and it would just fizzle out. But this has really helped me to see, like, okay, here's our goal. Here's what we think realistically, what we can grow by this year. Let's check in each month. And so it's been very motivating for me. And if you've been doing TpT for a while, this might be something that kind of gets you back into the excitement of it. Just because in the middle of the month, I'll check in and say, okay, if I'm only at this point, like maybe I should send out an email about a product or a bestseller, or send a note to followers, which I wasn't that great at doing before, or post on social media about this product that's, a new release, something like that. So it's just kind of helped me to really focus in my time in order to try to reach that goal. And it's been fun to see reaching that goal or surpassing the goal for the month. So it's really, like Jarrett was saying, it's just those small little things, those small tweaks, and you can see this difference happening in your store. And for it to not just be an accidental, like, okay, just thankful to be making money, and we're still thankful, of course, but you're really intentional about the growth that you hope to have. And so it is fun to get to dream, you know, if you're someone that's still in the classroom, like having an idea, if this is a reality, to be able to leave the classroom, if that's what you desire, what do you need to get to, what does it take to get there? You know, how can you do that in your store? So it's clear, and it's kind of just a fun way to get motivated again of what you're doing in your store and seeing how it's impacting it.
And from my side, it's been fun because Beth will come in and check in and ask, hey, so how am I doing towards my goal? So she's more involved in the process too. And that's fun because she, again, is very tangible, and and you can see the motivation level for her. It's up, and it's very focused. Okay, like last week, she's like, okay, I got to send an email. I got to prepare because I want to hit the goal. And so every email is like, okay, I'm that much closer to the goal. So it's that motivating factor that I see for her. And she doesn't feel overwhelmed like she has to do everything. It's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna focus on. Hey, I need some more page views, or hey, let me launch a new product. So again, it's very tactical things. And then you just mark your progress to see where you're at versus the overall growth plan and the growth target. So it's been fun. And we just built this and launched this in January. So it's a newer tool, but it is fun to see how it is changing the way people are managing their growth. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so that's actually the last tool that's part of tier 1. So then there's a couple other tools that are part of the tier 2 and tier 3, the data driven and the data led. So, okay, so this tool is really about identifying your top customers so you can know them better. So you can quickly identify, like, for example, if you have a transaction and you need to support them, instead of having to manually download all those Excels to see if they actually purchased the product, this allows you that visibility pretty quickly. And it also allows you to see how loyal your customers are, and how much individual customers are spending on your store, and if you're attracting new customers, right? So again, this is really about customer level data here, and giving you more insight into that. So here you get, again, top level, how many customers you've served, what percentage have returned, meaning what percentage have purchased more than one time from you, how many countries have you sold in, how many cities, and the average amount that people spend with you. Then you see the evolution of how your customers have grown, the repeat customer rate. The average order size is essentially when you go and check out at a grocery store, this tells you how many products they're actually checking out that are in the cart. And then this is how much they're actually paying at checkout, right? So average order value. So what's the actual transaction size? So they can have multiple products in the cart. So that tells you basically what's on the receipt. This down here is actually where you can see, your customer level information. And so this, you can see the top 25 customers, you can see the top 100 customers. So it really gives you insight to understand who your top customers are, so that you can build relationships with them, that you can reach out to them, that you can support them, that you can see which products that they purchase together and understand their purchase behavior. So here we see, particularly for this girl, she's a repeat customer. She spent almost $500 on Best Store, and only 2 orders actually. But she's bought three products each time, for an average order value of $285. So we can click here, for example, or let's go and click on, Maria. She's 19 orders. So if we come in here and look at Maria's order history, we see all of the different things that she's purchased. So how much she spent, where she actually lives. Her first order, her last order was only 27 days ago, actually. So she's highly engaged. And so you can see all the different things that she's purchased. So this is just a good way to get to know your customers from a high level, and then also at the customer level. And then you can use it to reach out to them, to send emails, to use products that are frequently purchased together by your top customers, and cross-link them in your product descriptions. So this is just a great way to leverage your customer level data in a new way, to support them and also understand who they are and know what they're purchasing, and then build better relationships with them. So that's that tool. The next product, this is called your pricing strategy. So this one is all about answering the questions, are you appealing to educators who can spend money at different price levels? In which price points do you have gaps where there's demand? And essentially, how does my pricing compare to what I'm making versus where is their demand in the cohort? So the cohort is all of the people active in YDP, your data playbook. We analyze and we group the data together so you can get a high level understanding of where people are actually buying, and then you can understand like at which price points do I have listings, but they're not actually selling. So this tool is all about showing you where your products are priced and identifying any gaps so you can optimize your pricing strategy and then compare it to the overall market demand. And in this case, it's the 300 plus sellers that we have access to the data, and we aggregate it and give you that back so that you can understand where the gaps are in your pricing strategy. So that is this tool right here. So on the left side is essentially the number of products listed by price point. And so what this tells us here is that 28% of the products are actually listed at $3 to $4, right? Why do you think that is? Well, anything below $3, you have to pay that 15-cent transaction fee, right? So it's no surprise that that's the floor, right? Everyone wants the majority of their products to be that $3. And so then you can see the distribution of where products are listed at, right? And then you can see how many products are listed, where your products are listed at. And the red here are actually telling you that. So in this case, Beth has 4 products that aren't selling at the $3 mark, that have never sold. So let's go understand why they're not selling. Then we come here and we look at that. That's where the demand component is. Essentially, this is the distribution of the cohort here in the cohort, of where the cohort makes its money, meaning what products are being sold and how much is that making for the cohort. So we would see here, for example, the $3 to $4 price point, Beth is making 2% on that particular product, or on that particular price point. The cohort is making 9%. So Beth is underperforming, or she's underpenetrated in terms of how much she's making from this particular price point, right? Where we also see here, where she's doing better, look at that's $10 to $15 price point. So the cohort's making 10% of its earnings from products that are priced between $10 to $15. Beth's at 7%, which is pretty good, right? That's not bad. She's not far off from where the demand is. And then you can see where she's overperforming here in this $15 to $20, where the cohort's only at 8%. And where she's totally not performing and where she's like a completely underperforming is, look at this. There's a huge gap here and here. So in the $40 to $75 price ranges right here, so where the cohort's making 8%, if we were to sum the 5 and 3% together, she's not existent at all. She's not making any money. She doesn't have any listings there. So this would be an opportunity for us to position products or create products to be able to capture some of this demand, right? So that's what this tells us in terms of how we use it, in terms of how we think about our prices and how we position our prices in the market in order to be able to capture demand for where educators are willing to pay, right? So if you don't have a product that's listed at $50, you're never going to be able to capture a sale because it's not available. So this gives you that insight to be able to think about how you want to create your products and at what price you want to price them at to capture demand. Then below here, it actually gives you the breakdown by product. For example, these are the products that I selected earlier that have made no money from $0 to $1. So a $0 to $1 range, we can go in and look at those particular products and understand why they're not selling. So that's your pricing strategy. Then the next tool is called your product portfolio. So this is all about understanding how your product has evolved, or your portfolio has evolved over time. So you want to understand how your portfolio is over time to know what's working, what's not working. So are older products contributing more than newer products? What's actually contributing to your earnings? Like, and have those new products contributed over the years or not? Like, and if I'm making new products, should I continue to make them or not? Right. So understanding what is actually driving your overall earnings by looking at your portfolio growth and what's contributing. New products or old products. So this tool is all about that. So here you see, so starting here in the top left, what you see is this is best portfolio, or the number of products that how her product portfolio has grown over time, or how it's evolved over time. So she started in 2016. So and that year she made 41 products. So then you can see the growth. Green here is new products every year. And so you can see here the percentage is the actual amount of product growth that she's had by year. And then specifically what we're looking at here is earnings. What we're saying is existing products versus new products. So on average, 17% of best earnings have come from new products that were created in the same year. So on average, what we actually find though is about 9% of is 9%. So if you want to grow more than 9%, you have to have a different strategy besides creating more products. So we analyzed the entire cohort, and what we found on average, 9% of is what people get in the same year for a product is created. So if you create 10 products, on average, you can expect those 10 products to produce about 10% or 9%, 9 or 10% of your earnings for that particular year that they were created in. And here you can see that this holds true for Beth. It doesn't here because of COVID, right? But it holds more true. Actually, in this case, it doesn't. So these 2 years actually are bad examples. But here, this one holds, and this one actually, if you see overall in 2022, it holds as well. But again, at the cohort level, that's what we see, or at the total level, that's what we see. So then we come down here and we look at our average average earning per product. And then, so we can compare and see over time, how have our average products worked? How have they produced? How much are they producing right now versus new products? And so, like, for example, have you ever thought about how much, when you create a new product, what's actually worth your time? So you need a minimum, you need that product to produce something in order for it to be a valuable return on your time. So in this case, best existing products for this year are producing $265, and her new products are producing $180. So if it's let's say you value your time at $50, right? And this product took her 3 hours to make, right? Essentially, that product hasn't made money for her yet this year. Or let's say if it took her 4 hours to make, essentially she lost $20 so far. So it just gives you a gauge of how much your products are producing for you as you are creating them. Then the earnings distribution here is really all about what products are producing your overall earnings. So if you see here, right, you can see that 2016 has continued to be a significant year. This is where Beth made a lot of her original products and bundles, and they've continued to contribute significantly for her earnings, and overall 32%. So that year has contributed the most since she started her store. So you can come and evaluate your performance over the years. In 2017, 16. So she actually hasn't had a year that has contributed as much as 2016. Right. And again, this could be time, this could be because of the resources that she created, but there's a lot of variables here. But again, thinking about, okay, I want to go back and look at 2016 and understand what I created, because I probably should create more of that because it continues to have a significant impact on my overall store. Then you can look specifically at particular products. Here you can look and see the overall product earning story. And you can see for a particular, I want to look at all products that were created, for example, in 2016. Right. And then you can see how their earnings have evolved over time. And here we see in 2020, this product is down. It's picking back up in 2022 or 2021. And we see here in 22, it's continuing to grow. So this is a good example of just getting a quick health check of understanding how your product's earnings have evolved over time. Every product has a life cycle, meaning it has initial adoption in the market, growth phase, and then decline. That's usually, unless there's differentiation or you innovate on a product, that is the normal life cycle, just like a lot of things in life, right? So here that gives us an understanding of where we're at in that life cycle, and then figure out and catch early on if something is declining, how can we do something to improve that behavior? So that is the product portfolio, and a quick overview into some of the things that it can do and some of the main questions that it helps you answer. So that is all of the tools, and those last 3 tools, like I said, are in the top 2 tiers. And the first 5 that we mentioned, or first 6 that we showed you, are all included in all the tiers, including the data informed or the base tier. So yeah, that's what I have for you tonight.